Scene 1, Apple, take 2.
Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys.
So, first repair job that I'm going to be doing, well, second repair job on the same thing. FJR1300 2017 should be equivalent back to, I think, 2014, maybe give or take a year. Basically, this is on the what's called the stay. It's right behind the windshield. It braces the windshield, it braces your mirrors, it braces all of that onto the bike frame itself. I've already broken this and the bike is 2 weeks old. So just in the process of tipping it over by accident, because as one of the other vloggers said, is, well, when the bike starts to go over and you're trying to hold it up, if you own an FJR, you know that's a joke. So yeah, the mirror is broken again. So as you'll be able to see here, I've already JB welded it once, and everything kind of got broke. I've got the bolts loose already. I've already done some work to this. So I'm going to be showing you some of the repair. This is how I'm doing it. Is there a better way out there? Probably. If there is, hey, let me know. That way if I ever break it again, I can do that even better. But this is the way I'm doing it for now. Here we go. Okay, so first things first is pull these 10 millimeters. As you can see, they've got Loctite on them. So this is going to take a minute. Okay, so pulling this off, you'll see the little rubber piece here. Make sure that goes on the same way that came off, because it does match up with those for how long the hole is. Make sure you keep a hold of that, so I would recommend putting the nuts back on the bolt. It holds them in pretty well. So, holds the plastic too. You don't lose anything. You remember how it's supposed to go on. At this point, it is a matter of just getting that down and out. That's the shearing, and as you can see, some of this JB Weld's coming right off. Chisel all of that JB Weld off. Once I chisel all that off, then I can go ahead and JB Weld again. I've been debating on doing a thorough job of literally pulling the whole front end off and then pulling that out. That way I can do extra JB welding. I figure I'm not going to do that. Reason being, JB Weld was going to hold plenty well without doing that, because it would be extra gobbing on the top part of it, but then on top of that I'd probably put some screen inside there, because that's what you can use too, is some screen from like a screen door. Using it with the JB Weld or the plastic repair, any of that gooey stuff, you put the screen in there, it gives it some extra reinforcement. Personally, I'm not going to do that, because this would have held had I not tipped the bike over again. I'll get onto that here shortly. So one thing I've found with JB Weld is once you find a weak spot, the whole thing kind of comes apart after that. Holds up really well most of the time, but as I said, once you find that weak spot, like I'm finding right now, you can just peel it up from there, break it off, chip it off, it comes right off. Which, as I said earlier, this probably wouldn't be this weak had I not dropped and broke it. I'm going to use a screwdriver with another screwdriver. I'm going to use the longer one to basically tap, that way I don't get too much strength on there. So that way I don't end up chipping too much. So now you might ask, why am I worrying about chipping it? It's already broke. Well, because I don't want to chip away too much of the aluminum here. This piece is not plastic or anything. It's cast aluminum, which I honestly found kind of surprising. I was half expecting it to be some like ABS plastic or something. Gotta be cheap. Nope. They went pretty well out on that. Went pretty well out on this. It was they did not screw around at all. So as you can see, not having much strength is doing it quite well. Everything's chipping right off with very, very little issue. Any more than I have to though. See, that's another reason why I like using lighter tapping, lighter screwdrivers and such, because then if if I do nick the body somewhere other than where I wanted to nick, you know, I'm not causing that much damage. So, part of it too, it's just safer. Oh, that was the sound of aluminum. Okay, so now we are on to the outside piece. As you can see, all of this buildup, all of this JB Weld, even in here, this is not really what I wanted here. Unfortunately, it's too hard to actually chisel that all out, so I actually have to sand it down, which means this is no longer going to be a perfect mating piece to the other. This area here is more squeezing than it is chipping, which means I did not mix it correctly. That second batch, which is what a lot of this top layer stuff is, the second batch, because I didn't make enough in the first batch. It's more liquidy than it is, which means I didn't get, yeah, you see, I shouldn't have been able to do that. That should have been chipped. It means that I mixed it incorrectly, or I did not mix it up enough, which basically means the hardener did not match with everything correctly. So here I go and just doing what I can to get what I can off. If need be, that's what a Dremel's for, right? Okay, well, let me go to the tried and true. And safety reasons, always wear eye protection, guys. I just had a piece shoot up near my eye. Thank God for my glasses. So you see how that last piece, this one here, that was right here, stayed very well. I had to actually hammer pretty well at it. As you can see right here, the little discoloration on this piece, right here, that is because it was actually in some grooving. And the more grooves you have, the stronger your hold's going to be. Why? Because it's areas that it goes down into. And you got to make sure you get this as clean as possible from the old stuff. Because if you don't, well, you're bound to have a weak spot. Doesn't matter if you rough up that JB Weld and then JB Weld on it, you're still going to have a bit of a weak spot there. That's why I didn't like the fact that it broke and left JB Weld in here. This is my major weak spot, is where it should actually be strongest. So, typically what you do is with my 80 grain sandpaper, so I would take it, and I'd sand it, and sand it, and sand it, until I am past all of this and down to shiny metal that's very coarse from the 80 grain sandpaper. As you can tell, I've already done this. That was on the previous repair. Yeah, I'm done doing that. I'm using my Dremel. Okay, I'm back with my Dremel. A little big for the job, but it should do. We'll see how well this works. For that last section, I ended up finishing up inside the FJR with initially this bit here, the little brown one. Then ended up finding that that wasn't getting into the tight spaces, so I had to switch over to this little tiny bit there. So the little tiny bit did pretty well. I found that I could actually use the little tip to kind of put a couple of little deep grooves in there. Hopefully those grooves will do it. But for this next section, what you need is a can of brake part cleaner and air hose. Air hose with the tight little nozzle, because you need the pressure to dry off the brake cleaner. In doing so, you will have to do it very carefully. The brake cleaner, because of where this is, unless you disassemble the entire front end, which, if you have that kind of time, I would highly recommend doing it instead of the way I'm doing it right now. So, because as you see here, I've got a track. That white stuff is a grease. See, that is a grease. Basically what that is for the window to go up and down in. Okay, so as I said, got to be careful up on this area here, so I have to spray it in gently. This air chuck will be able to push everything out that I don't need and don't want. So I have to do this kind of carefully because I'm in a little bit tighter space than normal. Now the reason behind cleaning this a little bit extra like this is get some of the extra powder and doings gone. Better aim. So yeah, that's like 3 sets of cleaning. There's some remaining JB Weld. I'm not bothering showing you cleaning of the other part because it's pretty well identical to cleaning that one. I'm going to apply some here, apply a bunch of gooping up here so that when I can connect it, it'll hopefully all combine. I'm going to apply a bunch down here, just thinner layer down here because I can reapply later. This one here, this is the top piece here, that goes up on top. So I'm going to be gooping a bunch up here. I'm going to make sure it's over the edge. Same thing over here, making sure that it's over the edge, or at least doing my best to. That way, once I connect them, those two goop together, I've got a bond. Down here, once I have it in there, I'm going to start reapplying here. So, one thing you got to want to make sure too is make sure your hands are clean-ish, but don't touch the areas where you're going to put the JB Weld after we've cleaned. Reason being, you don't want your oils sitting here and screwing with the JB Weld's hold. So, let me get the JB Weld ready, mix it up, and we'll go. Here we go. This stuff is really, really liquidy, and as I said, this stuff is going to be curing, or setting, I should say, not curing. It's going to be setting in 5 to 6 minutes. So, which means I need to work pretty quickly here. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull this body piece up a bit so that I can set things in and align things a little bit better. So that way I'm not touching extra stuff too. Okay. So, ooh, this stuff warms up. Huh. Okay, so got that done. As you can see, I've got JB Weld everywhere. A little bit gooping. I can't really tell how the top came out. Let's see if I can see it well enough here. Oh yeah, that came out pretty decent, just not quite as wide as I was hoping for, but that should do. That should hold because the mirror doesn't really get any strain on it. So, got that done. It may be set in 4 to 6 minutes where I can start installing the mirror, I can start installing everything I need to. The problem with doing something like that is it's not cured. You want it to cure. Reason being is it's at its strongest at the cure point. Right now it's still a semi-liquid. It will take 4 to 6 hours minimum to cure. When it cures, that's when it's hardened. It's at its maximum strength. It's not going to flex. It's not going to take anything off kilter from what you need, from what you want it to do. That's how I'm going to do this repair. If this one breaks, I'm probably going to have to replace it, and I will look at doing a video on how to replace that entire bracket. Once again, I am one that sits here and learns as I go, figures things out as I go, does a little bit of research online to figure out, okay, am I doing this right? Am I moving this right? Am I doing what can I do better? I don't want to break anything, kind of thing. So, if you guys got any comments on what to do, how to do it, better ways on me to set up the camera, frame myself, whatnot, feel free to leave comments underneath. Subscribe, hit the bell if you want to see my videos because they're going to be up sporadically. Sorry, I do run a full-time job on top of doing some of this stuff. This is an addictive hobby for me, but I will be trying to put some of the videos up. I will be doing ride videos also. I'm going to do 360 videos, various other things. So hit subscribe. Hit the chime bell if you want to hear whenever I put one up. Leave comments underneath. This is Mind Slider. I'm out.